Building wealth and hopefully getting wealthy through collectibles like comic books and coins sounds like every investor's childhood dream. And the guy to my right has actually done that. His name is Phong Lee. And in full disclosure, he's a friend of mine. We go skiing every year a couple of times, take some pretty nice trips actually. And he's really got an amazing story. But why I wanted to talk to him today is he knows more about collectibles than any other person I know. And I know practically nothing. I'm fairly a stock expert, but I know very little about this space, Fong. And you've been doing it, you told me, since your early teens. So first
Yep.
of all, thanks for being here.
Yep. My pleasure. My pleasure.
And I'm just going to let slip. So you have, in my mind, one of the best temperaments for investing of people that I've met. What I mean is you're level-headed, you're disciplined, you're a stick-to-the-plan kind of guy. Uh, you came to the U.S. as a kid. You
Right.
weren't always wealthy. I want to mostly talk about collectibles, but I think some of the audience might relate to your story if you're willing to share a minute or two of it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, my family and I were the, I guess, the product of the end of the Vietnam War. So, we immigrated here in 1978 after, well, I guess 3 years after the Vietnam War ended, and had to rebuild our lives here. As a kid, I went to school. That was my main job, to go to school. My mom worked, and we slowly rebuilt our lives, and it took a little while, but I would say in 20 years' time, we were able to get stabilized. I guess my family, and not that we had any singular skill or anything like that, we just took it one step at a time. And again, the great shortcut in this country is an education.
Yep.
I guess take it to the next step by learning about the opportunities that are here in this country, namely investing. All forms of investing. So whether it's real estate, whether it's the market, whether it's collectibles, whatever, and there's so much opportunities here that it's really for the taking. And I think that people have to realize that it's there. I mean, you just have to want to go out and get it. And like I said, we had no singular skill. We just were willing to work hard, and then do it incrementally. My philosophy, I think I mentioned to James, is like I never want to. Well, not want. I want it, but I never try to always hit home runs. I'm happy just knocking singles. Whether it's investing in anything, I'm like, just keep hitting singles. I think in the long run, you do a lot better because you don't have to take huge risks.
Yep.
And yeah.
So, well, let's segue then to collectibles, because that's what, in my mind, you're most known for. If someone's just beaming into this conversation, how do you define collectibles?
That's a good.
I know comic books.
Yeah.
Coins.
Currency.
What other kinds of currencies?
So there in this country, obviously, it's a lot of disposable income. So there are all kinds of collectibles out there that you can get into. However, again, with my philosophy of moderation, a bit of conservativeness, and hitting singles, I try to go with the ones that I would say the most stable, that has the longest shelf life. Because if you remember back, like say
stuff that won't be a fad. Is that another way of saying
absolutely.
that?
Like, I was going to say Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, Magic card. Just those kinds of things. They tend to very cyclically, and sometimes when they die, they never come back. Right now, I think like the Magic cards, and I forgot what's the other card game that was in the early '90s is having a resurgence, but it died for a long time.
Yeah.
So I tried
Cabbage Patch Kids,
or a lot of those things.
Garbage Pail cards. Yeah, random stuff.
Very much a fad, and it's kind of like a meme stock. You better know when the hell to get out, because otherwise you're holding the bag. So I try to stick with the things that are most stable, has the longest shelf life. So anyways, just by sheer luck, how I got into comic books, I think will be an interesting story to most. Immigrating here, obviously I had to learn English. And as a kid in Vietnam, I read Asterix and Obelix French comic books
Huh.
because again, heavily influenced
That's
by
what
the
you had
French in
there. Yeah.
Vietnam,
Yep.
right? So coming here, my mom figured, he liked comic books back then, so she got me into reading comic books here to help me learn the language quicker. So that's kind of how I got into comic books. And then after I read it and I realized there was a whole market and there's money to be made.
Yep. Yep.
Then as a kid, I think I was like in my early to mid teens, maybe early teens, I started, buying, selling, trading comic books. And at that time, mostly just to build my collection.
Yeah. It was just cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But eventually I guess I lost the passion for collecting, but I still had all that knowledge. And I'm like, well, why not?
And you said still had the comic books.
Yeah, I sold a lot of it,
Okay.
but I still had the knowledge. I say, well, if you have the knowledge, I may not be as passionate. I'm not much of a collector nowadays. I'm more of a maybe I say 90% investor, 10% of it I still find cool. I still have that little bit of a rush because it's a book that I like.
Yeah.
But it's still I make my decisions based on return on investment.
Got it.
Not necessarily like a pure collector would only buy for the love of the hobby. But for me, I look at it as 90% I want to get a return on my investment. 10%, yeah, it's kind of cool. It's still things that like I would buy books that I didn't have before or something like that, or a genre that I like.
So let me ask you a kind of a philosophical question, because you have things like art, like gold, or even like meme stocks.
Right.
You could Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, things that don't really have an intrinsic value.
Right.
But yet they do have a market value in the sense that people will pay for them.
Correct.
And how much risk is there in that, like, people love something for a little bit, and then just kind of fall out of love with it?
Right.
How do you manage that versus, like, how do you know what's going to have long-term sustainable value?
Okay, fair question, and that's kind of what I mentioned earlier. It's like I'll start with the three categories that I really like.
Okay.
1, comic books. 2, coins, and 3, currency.
Okay.
So comic books, it's been in our society since really the landmark year was 1938 when Superman first appeared, and then that was the start of everything. And for the most part, all through that time, comic books have always been in our culture, been very popular. But then I would say in the let me remember here, maybe by the 2000s, early 2000s was kind of just losing steam.
Yeah.
And then Disney bought Marvel, and then the CGI technology became mature enough for them to make basically 10 years worth of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And those movies absolutely killed it. I mean, they were making $1 billion per movie in
and that just kind of drew public attention to
Correct.
these figures, the stories.
All of my, I guess, life, I've been collecting it, and I've been just tracking it. I can see definitely the interest kind of waning in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And but then those Marvel movies just re-energized everything, and then it just blew up. I mean, and it brought in so many more people into the market that now the market is at heights that that collector me 20 years or so ago would not imagine.
And just to give someone a sense of scale, like, just hypothetically pretend it's the late 90s during kind of that down period, and I've got a comic book that at the time is worth $100, and then after 10, 15 years of these movies coming out, pretend it's based on the characters, the stories in these comic books, what sort of appreciation in absolute terms or annually might someone see?
Well, I can give you one particular example, which I still remember, which is really interesting. So the first appearance of Spider-Man was Amazing Fantasy number 15. Came out in the early 60s. And I remember, I think this was, my dates may not be exact, but it's going to be somewhere. It was in the 90s that a big collection was discovered. And the copy of Amazing Fantasy 15 in that collection was a really, really beautiful copy. And I think it was graded at that time quite high. And I remember it sold then for, I believe it was about, I think it was $40,000.
Hmm.
And I was thinking to myself, I was like, that's all the money that ever will be for that book. Okay. Fast forward, I don't know, to like, I think within the last 10 years, I forgot exactly when this book was sold again. Because again, the books of that caliber, of that grade, they have provenance.
Yeah.
And so, you can track the sales of them. Like the average comic book, you can track it because it's generic. But books, important books of high grade, they all have provenance and what collection they came from and so on. Anyways,
meaning like if you and I made a private transaction with a very expensive comic book, it would somehow be recorded.
No. The book, most of the modern collectibles now are all third party graded.
Okay.
So like that book.
Graded, I mean, look at the condition of it.
Condition and the authenticity of it.
Yeah.
So that book came out of a collection called the White Mountain Collection. So that book is known. It's a known quantity.
Got it. These things don't appear out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah. So when that book sold for $40,000 back in the 90s, again, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then fast forward to, I believe, within the last 10-ish or so years, that book traded hand for $6 million.
Oh my God.
I'll have to verify that.
Wow.
But it's as far as the modern Marvel universe, Spider-Man is one of the most important characters.
Yeah.
Whereas you go back to the 40s, it was Superman. So Spider-Man is really that is the holy grail of the Marvel universe, and Superman is the holy grail of the DC universe. But to just give you an idea of the appreciation, but again, that's an outlier because that is, but again, that gives you kind of an idea of that trajectory.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the best with mental math, especially geometric compounding, but that's probably a lot better than the S&P 500. It's probably on par with the top performing, very high performing stock.
Right.
And maybe not like an Amazon, but something that's like a real home run kind of stock.
Right. Now again, outlier. If we're talking about the bell curve, I think overall, I mean, the market has. I haven't tracked it, but it certainly is a good investment. And it does take a little bit more knowledge and research. I mean, anybody go out, just buy the S&P 500 and be done with it and just let it ride, never think about it again. It's going to do, I don't know, 8 to 10% per year, whatever it is. Whereas with collectibles, you have to do a little more research. But that's the fun part, is because some of it is history, some of it is passion. And like with coins and currency, that is the history of the United States. And I can talk more about that.
Interesting.
So that makes it fun.
You kind of want to enjoy it. I mean, if you have no interest at all in comic books, it's probably not for you. Do something else. But if you enjoy it, I mean, it just sounds like, whereas when I used to do stock recommendations in my dividend service, I would I would deliberately pick stock like sewage companies or a coffin company, things that were not emotional, because they would trade in general based more on their economics than something else. Right. But in a way, we're kind of doing the opposite in this case. Like, you want something that's going to catch the public eye. You want some big budget Hollywood movie to come out, because that's going to wake everybody up and increase the value of these things. So it's kind of interesting.
Well, this will be an interesting. In the early 2000s, me seeing the market kind of declining, I liquidated a lot of my comic collection and my comic art collection.
And you regret that now, I guess.
100%. Oh my God. I mean, I did this all before the Marvel Universe came to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
but who would have known?
Exactly. I couldn't see the future. And granted, I made great money. I was happy what I made. But I would say those same pieces today, if I had kept it to today, 10x.
Wow.
Wow. So I try not to think about it because it makes me.
You would be paying for our ski vacations.
Oh
basically.
yeah. I mean, I remember selling. I had quite a good art collection, comic book art collection.
And comic book art is defined as not just the book itself, but just like
the original artwork that was drawn by the artist to publish the comic book.
To put it into the book. Yeah,
right.
Okay.
So
it's just like on a piece of paper.
It's on depending on the age. depends on when the book was published. Early, like by the mid '60s, they were large format, and then after that, it went to small format. Now I think it's all digital.
Digital, sure. Yeah.
So, but that's way advanced. That's not something that you want to get into because one, the I guess the cost of entry is high, and also it's very nuanced. So I wouldn't recommend that here. But I mean, again, I did it for a long time, and yeah, thinking back, I remember I sold, well, Loki in Thor was a very popular character. I had not the cover of his first appearance, but the splash page of his first appearance, which is a very significant piece of art. And in the early 2000s, I sold that for 25 grand.
Wow.
And easily that's 10x now, if not more.
Wow.
Yeah. And and I've not seen that piece of art come back on the market. So whoever bought it just squirreled it away, and it's so. Anyways, that's
enough to buy, like, I don't know, a second home in the mountains or something. Yeah,
exactly. So, but again, just like I don't know. I mean, same thing with the stock market. I guess last year I bought Rocket Lab.
Yep.
I got it I think two years ago I bought it. I think they were like $5 a share or something like that. And I bought 10,000 shares. I sat on it. It didn't do anything. I finally got tired of it. I sold it. I think when it got up, I made like 10, 15% of it. I got out of it and I redeployed the capital somewhere else. Shortly after that, they won the first contract with NASA. And so today, my nephews, who I've been getting into the investing as well, they always say, Uncle Phong, you know what Rocket Lab is right now? And I'm like, don't tell me. I do not want to know. But they're trading in the $40 range.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, how much money did I leave on the table? But again,
we've all got stories.
Exactly.
Like every investor's going to have. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to collectibles. It's a great diversification. It's fun.
Yeah, I bet that.
And I guess those are the two main draws.
And I know you brought some, and I want to take a look at these in a minute. I'm thinking about them as we're talking, but what are some of the risks or the downsides or the most common mistakes of people getting into collect? What do they do wrong?
I wouldn't call it a risk, but it is not as liquid as the stock market. So it does take time to sell your holding if you need to. Transaction costs.
So if you're going to need the money quickly, or you may need something suddenly, do not put that money into comic books.
Right, correct. And the transaction cost is a little bit higher.
These are trading through platforms, third party.
Correct. Okay, yeah, absolutely. So
but you want that because they legitimize certification. So I'm not buying some Xerox fake thing or something. Okay.
So those are the, I guess, maybe disadvantages. I wouldn't say I wouldn't call it risk because these things
to be aware of it.
Yeah, these things here, I would say the risks are fairly low because they're very established markets.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but definitely speed of transaction and transaction.
And what about the fluctuation of price? Like,
for the most part, collectibles. They're kind of like the S&P 500. It does this thing, but in the long run, it does this.
Unless you're in one of those fad type of thing.
Right. So
yeah, sounds like that's a risk then. Buying what you think is a long-term thing, you think it's going to be there forever, but it's really a 2-year fad.
Right. Yeah. So you have to be aware of. That's why the stuff that I invest in tend to be more classical stuff that has already, survived the test of time.
Yeah.
Not modern stuff. Modern stuff is kind of like those meme stocks. They go up fast, but they go down fast, and you got to be on top of it. Otherwise, you might be holding the bag.
Yeah.
Whereas the more
or like an NFT. That's
exactly
the meme stock version of a collectible, right?
Yeah, exactly. Whereas the more classical stuff, it's the value, the market's already been established, and so it's just a steady gainer. I mean, they're not going to do an exponential gain, but they'll do a nice linear gain. But it's kind
of the Warren Buffett approach to collectibles, basically. Yeah. Stick with it.
Like I said, that's just my philosophy is I want to hit singles and doubles. I'm not swinging for home runs because swinging for home runs, you strike out a lot as well. So, so therefore, what I invest in uh, they are geared towards that.
This
So
seems like I have a son who's 16, and I've gotten them in some stocks, and they've actually, luckily gone up quite a bit. But I always thought for a kid, even for an adult, but especially for a kid, that feels kind of abstract. So as you're
yeah,
talking, I'm wondering, like, would it be good to get him buying? Would you recommend this as kind of a more fun entryway into investing for young people,
yeah,
for
absolutely,
parents, for example?
absolutely. I think that out of the three, between comic books, coins, and currency,
Hmm.
coins have the widest bandwidth, widest entry, I guess the largest number of entry points,
Hmm.
entry levels, genre, you name it. It is
Yeah,
massive, and coin collecting has been a part of our culture since the beginning, since pre Revolutionary War. It
yeah.
of course back then only the rich folks could do it, because I mean, to be able to put away money,
Yep. Yeah,
you
you
know,
had to have a
you have
surplus.
to have, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. But it's been part of our society ever since then, and so that one is rock solid.
Yep.
And because it's money,
Yeah.
it's things that
And we may phase out coins and paper money at some, we probably will at
we
some
will, yeah,
point. I
yeah,
dislike getting change back. It's like, what am I going to do with this? I
right,
can
right,
give it to the homeless guy at the stoplight,
yeah.
basically. He's taking a space in my pocket.
But it's so ingrained in our culture that I'm not worried about the shelf life
Yeah.
of the coins, and the currency is just a slightly lesser version
And
of
currency is
coins.
just paper money.
Paper
Yeah.
money,
So
yes,
this is the same bucket as coins,
yeah,
basically.
but it's not as diverse, because there's
Yeah.
a gazillion different denominations of coins, and but currency is just a smaller subset of the same kind of collectibles.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Um, and yeah, but it's also interesting because, and I'll show you some of the examples. They're like artwork.
Yeah.
Our money used to be so much prettier than what they are now.
Huh.
The current dollar is ugly as sin compared to what money used to look like.
Interesting.
Anyways, it's so that, and then comic books. That's the youngest of the three, but again, it's still pushing almost 100 years old now. 19. It came out, the earliest comic books came out in the mid 1930s, but really 38, I would say, is the mark when Superman came on the scene, and that was the
Yeah.
modern, the superheroes and so on.
And the stock market, we've had stocks, maybe twice as long as that. But mainstream people investing in stocks wasn't that. I mean, 100 years or so is a little bit. It's older than comic books, yes, but nothing like coins.
Right?
Yeah,
Right,
not
right.
even close.
And and also with coins, I mean, I mostly invest in, actually not most, 100% invest in U.S. coins,
Okay.
because one, U.S. history is much more digestible
Hmm.
than world history. You go to, like, say, British coins. Holy crap, that's 1,000 years of history you got to deal with. You go back to the Romans, the Greeks. Again, those are all entry points, and it depends on what your interest is.
Yep.
And those coins, believe it or not, they're not that expensive. They're much older. The modern, I wouldn't say modern, U.S. coins starting in 1790. Well, I guess the first U.S. silver dollar started in 1794. The mint started a year or two before that. So you can say, let's say the late 1700s to now, that would be the modern U.S. coins. And again, all of that is digestible because you can link U.S. event to those time periods. So it makes it really interesting.
Yep. Interesting. Let me double click on something you said in terms of digesting things. In the stock market or in securities markets, there's sort of two approaches. You're generally trying to identify undervalued stocks.
Right.
Now, that's the main approach. I would say there's sort of the passive approach saying, well, whatever, I'm just going to buy the S&P index because over time, humanity adds value to itself. And so, I mean, you could argue that's not really trying to be undervalued. It's just sort of betting on the value
we continue
of
to
the
grow.
world. Yes.
Yeah,
But if I'm not doing that, I'm basically, I think this company is underpriced because of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
I think I'm right and the market is wrong.
Right.
So there's a small act of arrogance in every investment. You're saying the consensus is wrong. I'm right.
Absolutely.
To the extent that you do that in collectibles, how are you doing? How are you getting information? Is it an informational advantage? Like something's gotten too giddy, or people have over punished a certain thing, and I think they're wrong. Is it just like, hey, I like this so much, kind of like a second vacation home or vacation home you might buy, that regardless of what the market price happens to do, you're happy to get that vacation home. Like, is it that, or is it like I have a reason this thing's going up and the market's
Right.
wrong?
So that of course is kind of like picking stocks. I mean, it's probably as much art as it is
Mm-hmm.
science. So and again, the more knowledge of the marketplace you have, the better you can kind of see things that are quote unquote
Yeah.
undervalued. And again, it's usually in relations to its peers, or
Yeah.
what else is out there,
And knowledge of the marketplace means past price movement or similar,
past
or
per current, just the more involved you are with it, the more
yeah,
clarity you have seeing, like you say, wow, why is this coin or this series of coins so undervalued? Like
yeah.
case in point, peace dollars. Peace dollars
Mm-hmm.
came out in
The camera
1921.
can see this. Okay, high relief piece. All right.
Yeah, came out in 1921 and it ran until 1935. But the most collected silver dollar is called a Morgan dollar.
Yeah.
Started in 1878, ended in 1921, and the
Mm-hmm.
piece took over. The piece is completely unloved.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bet. I think it's a pretty looking coin.
Because there's a shinier object in that space,
No, it
basically.
just for
Not
some
literally
reason,
shiny.
yeah, for some reason, the marketplace just don't like peace dollars.
Got it.
Morgan dollars, that everybody, for the most part, I think every coin collector has Morgan dollars
Okay.
because that's just the most popular.
There's just more buzz around Morgan
correct,
dollars.
correct, yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, peace dollars very undervalued, and again, that's something. If you look at the market, you say, well, they're both. I mean, they're both contemporaries of each other.
Yeah.
One, ended, the other one started, and you look at them. I think I have a Morgan here. Yeah, here's a Morgan. This is a Morgan,
Okay.
and you can compare it to the piece.
Interesting.
And they're but anyway, so you can the peace dollars are very undervalued, and so again, but it's a long-term investment. So with coin collecting,
And so right as we're talking, you believe they're still undervalued
compared to
the Morgan, but
yeah.
but you believe at some point,
Yep.
there will be some catalyst or some reason. And so again, just to try to like be really specific, what might that reason be? Just the kind of the crowd's attention moves over to the peace dollar, it gets more play in coin circles,
at
things
some
like that.
at some point, yeah, because again, a lot of people do follow the herd mentality.
Yeah.
So when enough quote unquote experts say something, people are like, oh wait, what? I'm like, duh, it's been there since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
That, and then also when prices of Morgan dollars get to the point where collectors are like, oh wow, that's a lot. They'll be like, well,
Yeah.
what else can I buy? For less money that gives me the same thing. So when
Got it.
when Morgan dollars price themselves to the point where the peace dollars starting to look good.
Interesting.
So
it's not like a stock where maybe there's a surprisingly good earnings report that comes out, or there's an acquisition, or there's some
it's all supply
external
demand.
it's supply and demand and
perception.
How people are perceiving it.
Right.
Maybe some sudden batch comes onto the market that nobody knew about, but that's super rare, I would guess.
But those are the outliers.
Yeah,
we're talking bell curve.
That would be called noise in an academic financial sense, like some new thing comes up, whereas it's mostly you're kind of predicting the psychology of the, and so that gets to your point, like it sounds like you really want to live in this universe.
It's fun, yeah.
And kind of get a sense and maybe be the guy or the girl with the better temperament, the one who's a little bit more cool, calm, and collected. Say, okay, wait a minute, there's too much froth around this. There's not enough froth around this, so I'm gonna buy that.
Yeah, again, none of these things produce anything of value. There's no intrinsic value in it. There are no fundamentals to judge by, and it's sentimental. It's well established. I mean, obviously, these things are very similar to say bitcoins in crypto in the sense that they have no intrinsic value, but these things have been around 10 times longer.
Yeah, a lot more proven,
established,
staying power
than cryptos. But also little things like say, you look at, like I said, marketplace. Like say this coin here.
Hmm.
This is the first year of the
1909. It says this is a penny.
the wheat penny,
Hmm.
the Lincoln penny. That's the first year
Yeah.
it
Oh,
came
the
out.
wheat in the back. Yeah. Yeah. I remember this.
So I look at those coins, and again, just being in the marketplace, that coin is nearly a perfect condition coin.
Hmm.
Okay, in mint state 67. But then you look at the just one grade up,
Hmm.
the spread could be 10 to 20x.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So again, you can look at coins with big spreads between the two grades, and you're like, well, geez, at some point that next grade up, which is so this the highest condition grade of that coin,
Hmm.
if that coin exists, is a mint state 68.
Yeah.
Mint state 70 is basically a perfect coin.
Okay.
There's no such thing for older coins. That's only for modern coins. So the spread is literally 10, 15, 20x. So you're like, well, gee, the spread, again, you're looking at it, say, oh, the spread shouldn't quite be that much. And at some
Hmm.
point, people will be like, yeah, that coin's completely out of reach,
Hmm.
the 68,
Yeah.
whereas the 67, and then that will drive the demand. And if you look at the population, because all of these things are documented because they're all third party graded.
Got it.
So you can see the population that exists in each grade. So I speculate on those, and
Hmm.
whenever I can find them at a fair price, I just buy them and I shove them away, just like dollar cost averaging.
Yep. Yep.
So I think these were, I think these are like
Hmm.
around $1,000 a coin.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
and whereas the next grade up literally is, I think, is 10x, if not
Amazing.
more. So again, they've gone up 10, 20%.
Hmm.
And yeah, so as a collector, I would try to, no, if I was a collector, I would buy them in a different way. But as
Hmm.
an investor, I mean, I literally have a stack of the same coins because I'm
Interesting.
investing.
Yeah.
I'm not collecting.
Whereas that might be a little boring
Right.
if you're just building a collection.
Right.
But there are probably very few pure investors in the collectible space. I mean, it seems like most people have a
some
little bit
passion.
of a sentimental
Yep.
attachment to something.
Yep, 100%.
So before I segue into the show and tell, because you brought a ton of cool stuff and I want to see it. Transaction costs.
Right.
Question. So pretend there's a coin or a comic book, maybe each, $100,
Right.
and that's the price you and I, on principle, agree upon. How much am I actually paying, and/or how much are you actually receiving? Like, what do the spreads look like?
So I guess let's say the easy. Well, I mean, obviously you can have peer to peer, like say on Amazon. I mean, not Amazon, in
eBay,
Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
That's no transaction cost, very low.
Yeah, but anything really high end is probably not going to be sold
there, right?
there.
Yeah, like the $100 comic book. That stuff you can do on Amazon. I mean,
Yeah.
Marketplace all day long. But anything higher,
pretend it's a $100,000 comic book,
right? Anything higher, like say in the thousands. Again, you go eBay, you're talking 13%.
Wow. Okay.
So
Okay.
eBay used to be a bit better deal, but they've gotten pricey. Or you can go through auction houses. There are auction houses. Most of them. There's one that I deal with a lot. They charge 10%, but they handle everything for you. So they'll collect the money. They'll send the books, and so basically it's very So let's say. Yeah, 10. Let's say eBay is 13%. Some of the auction houses are 10%, and then of course there are if you're buying coins on a purely bullion basis, you can always have pawn shops, or there are places that'll buy bullion. So
got it.
There's a lot, and those are the transaction costs can be smaller than that.
Yeah.
But it does take a little more effort to sell.
Yeah.
Versus clicking a button on your brokerage account and selling like that. So.
And those are substantially higher than equity markets. Crypto has its own transaction cost depending how you do it, but that is pretty high. So you wouldn't want to be, you couldn't be it would be hard to be a frequent trader in these things because you just get killed in the.
That's why I say this is more of a long-term diversification. I mean, again, as it, I mean, it just goes steady up, and it's just another good way to, like I mentioned before, for the most part, these things don't directly correlate with the market, which is ideal diversification. And then, of course, as everybody is probably aware, like the last couple of years, um, silver or gold, and then just lately now silver has making a tremendous run. So for the coins, I love gold coins. But I've been you try to find some people would just do straight bullion,
Hmm.
which for me, you're leaving money on the table because you can play bullion and collectibles all in one coin,
Got it.
and you can capture both of that upswing.
So if a plain bar of gold goes from, I'm just making up a number. I know it's 3,300 bucks an ounce now.
Right.
For an ounce of gold goes from $1,000 to $2,000. What does a $1,000 gold coin do? Does it automatically embed that same price movement or not necessarily?
Yes and no. So, well, that gives that. So, okay. So these two coins
Okay.
are they're so basically US made gold coins up until 1933.
Oh, 1850. Wow.
Yeah. So 1933 was the last year we had gold coins.
Mhm.
So they're referred to as pre-33 gold.
Okay.
And they they're a good way to play both
Mhm.
the bullion value, because again, each one of these coins have 0.9675 of an ounce of gold.
Ah.
So almost an ounce. But they also have a collectible value attached to them. And right now, when the spot price of gold was
Mhm.
lower, the premium for the collectible was
Mhm.
higher. But now, since gold price have gone up so fast, that premium have shrunk
I see.
because the market won't bear that same thing. But
Yeah.
again, you're still making money. So let's say, like say this coin here. Okay, this is a 1924 double eagle
Mhm.
in mint state 66, which is a really high grade coin. But this date, this is a common date.
Mhm.
1924, 1927 are both very common dates. But in higher grade, they're not as common. But in
Mhm.
circulated grade, there are tens of thousands of them still out there.
Mhm.
This coin I bought. I bought most of these coins back about 7, 8 years ago or so, when gold was trading around $1,400 an ounce.
Mhm.
And I think I was paying 1,900 to 2,000 per coin.
Okay.
Okay. So was that 50% premium?
Mhm.
Right? Roughly?
Yeah. Yeah.
40 to 50% premium. Today, because of the spot price where they are, this coin now sells between 4,000 to 4,000, 4,200, somewhere between 4,000 4,200 or
Gotcha.
so. So you can see I double my money on
Yeah.
this. But is that the premium about the same? Let's say 3,300 spot gold, another 1,000. Yeah, so the premium has come down a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say it hasn't
Because
quite kept pace.
right, because the spot price have gone up so fast.
Yeah.
I think if spot gold price have gone up slower, the premium would have a chance to dig. But I'm not complaining because I've doubled my money
Yeah, you
on
made
this.
money.
Yeah. But that's one way of doing it. Or you can buy modern coins
Mhm.
that are more. You're paying much more for just the bullion value and not
Yeah.
as much collectible. And
Yeah.
frankly, it's not as much fun to me. So this is one of my favorite coins.
Mhm.
The 1850 Double Eagle. So that's the first year the U.S. Mint made a $20 gold coin.
And $20 was a lot of money
Oh my God, yes.
back then. Yeah.
And so if you think about, well, I mean, here's a little bit of history lesson, history question for everybody. What happened in 1849? The California Gold Rush.
Yep. Yep.
So
The San Francisco 49ers.
right,
named
San
for that.
Francisco 49ers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I love this coin. All the gold that's in this coin literally came out of the California Gold Rush.
Huh.
So I've been basically buying these up every chance. I mean, I have a box of them just because I find it fascinating. And on top of that, if you think about this coin, what history has it seen? Who's held it? Even though it's encapsulated now, you can't really fondle it. But if you think about what this coin has been through during the early days of the westward expansion,
Oh, yeah.
and so it's fascinating. I know this gold came out of California because that's why the U.S. Mint authorized a $20 denomination because we had so much gold coming out. They had to put it in the system. And so, anyways, it's fascinating.
Yeah, like I say, it's not the art; it's the story behind the art
Right.
that sells. A little bit like this.
And if you buy pre-1933 gold coins, and here's something that you wouldn't think of: conflict gold.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all heard of conflict diamonds,
Yeah.
but conflict gold is a real thing. I mean, in Africa, it's still being decimated, especially gold price has gone up as high now. So if you buy modern gold coins, you're like, I wonder if this gold came from a exploited country,
Yep.
kids, basically conflict gold. Whereas the pre-33 gold, you're like, hey, that's U.S. gold, and granted, the working conditions, back then. But again, everybody was trying to get rich. I think it was the spirit of making it in the U.S. It's not like exploitation.
Yeah, it's a piece of American history.
Yeah, it's not like exploitation with conflict diamonds or conflict gold now. So that's why I find I guess the pre-33 gold U.S. gold coins fascinating, and then also the silver coinage, U.S. silver coinage, which ended in 1964. Anything prior to 64 was 90% silver. So again, that's also, but all that silver came out of the West as well. The Comstock lode. I mean, one year I think you were working, but we took a side trip. We went to Carson City. We went to
I was
Virginia
working back
City,
at the house.
And again, that's where all the silver came out of. In the West. So.
Cool. So let me put you on the spot with a kind of a speed round, lightning round version of the show and tell, because I know you brought a bunch of things. We don't have to get through everything, but it seems like there's a story. One of the cool things about investing in collectibles is that there's basically a story to every single thing.
Right.
And I'm realizing that it's just a lot more fun than you don't even have a stock certificate these days. It's a digital entry, right?
Digital entry,
It's just much more abstract.
Right.
So whatever, we can maybe look at the coins first, then looks like we have some currency, and then I see some comic books.
I brought a little bit of everything, a lot of different price points. So let's start with the cheapest of the. So these are basically ungraded peace dollars.
Okay.
And mostly, the value of it is in the silver and a little bit of collectibles. So these things are probably like $40, $50 a coin. Now, silver is trading, I think right now, about $37 an ounce.
Got it. Yep.
So, these are like probably between $40 to $50, somewhere there.
And you have these in less fancy packaging.
Right, but these are raw. These are not graded.
Got it.
Because they're not worth to get graded. You can, again, these coins, when silver prices were cheaper, I mean, obviously they were cheaper, and then of course, that's the bullion play, but with a little bit of collectible value blended in. So these are the you can get in these cheap, not that expensive.
So this could be like a starter coin if somebody's
absolutely
a couple $100, just $1,000 to get into something.
So. This is also another one that is a good.
This is a penny, but it's silver. Right. Look, it's not a standard steel penny.
It's
1943.
The only year the U.S. again history.
Interesting.
Because of the war, because of World War II, copper was being rationed.
Short supply,
so that's 1 year they made the steel penny, and again, steel pennies are abundant, but again, this is a very high grade one. So again, I speculate on these. This is a mint state 67. And these things are between $100 and $150.
Got it.
And then let me go to let's see, what is this one? Okay, this is again, it's a common date peace dollar.
Yep.
But it's in nice condition, and
1922.
That's why it's been.
That's why it's been graded. Yeah,
been slabbed. I've been buying these coins anywhere between $90 to $110 a coin, slab like this already, and because I thought they were way underpriced.
Yep.
And then within the last 6 months, all these coins have seen significant upside. So now these coins are trading 130, 140. And so I mean, if you look at your ROI, that's pretty good.
So basically up 50% ish in 6 months almost.
Something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
But
Huh.
again, I saw the marketplace and I recognized that these coins, while they're common and boring, not anything fancy, but they're still €100 coin,
Yeah.
€100 silver dollar that it could be had for, roughly $100.
Yep.
And now, so maybe not 50, but like 30% or so.
Mm-hmm.
And again, and that's because of the rise in silver. And
Yep.
and then of course you get in that premium of the collectible value, because this is a mint state 65, which is a pretty nice grade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty close to 70.
Yeah. So let's see. Okay. So this one here
Yep.
is the
The
last
Morgan.
year of the Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the most common date there ever is in Morgan. They minted, I don't know, 20, 30 million of them that year. But
Is Morgan for JP Morgan or something else?
it was the oh geez, I should know this. It was I think it was the director of the mint.
Okay. A different Morgan.
Yeah, different Morgan. And that coin is a common date, but not in that grade.
Uh-huh.
That is a mint state 66, so it's a very high grade, because that coin can be had anywhere between 550 to about 750 in 66. If you go to 67, it jumps 7 times.
Even just a tiny.
Just one extra grade.
Wow.
And so, to me, I'm like, okay, that spread is compelling enough for me to.
How much agreement is there? It sounds like the graders have a lot of power.
They do.
How much agreement is there among grading? Like, is it, if you brought this to different graders, were they all graded at 67?
No.
There's a spread?
So once it's slabbed, it's slabbed.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's done.
It's accepted. It's kind of like, everybody recognizes $1 is value. Same thing.
Yeah.
So there are two major companies in the coin space. PCGS is one, and NGC is two. They're the two. That's the only two that I buy from, because they are reputable and established. Yeah. So you can see the spread, and so that coin entry point 550, 750, and so on. And then go further up. This is the 1909 penny that we talked about. So this one, closer to $1,000. Again, all these are extremely high grade.
This is the wheat, the Lincoln wheat penny. Yeah.
So when you buy a common date coin, I always go for the high grade, because the high grade then makes it uncommon in that condition. It's called conditionally rare, even though the coin itself is not necessarily rare.
So just kind of as a rule of thumb, leaning higher grade is usually a better investment, or not necessarily?
If you can afford it.
Yeah.
You can afford it. And also with the more readily available coin, you want to go as high grade as you can. So the 1924 $20 gold coin, same thing. That's a common date.
Yep.
But it's very high grade. It's in mint state 66. So that one.
That's very high grade. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now we go to something that's a little older, the 1850 $20 gold coin. And I'll give you an idea. That one is basically it's an almost uncirculated 50. It's a nice coin, but this coin doesn't exist in 66 condition because of the age and because it was circulated. So that coin is probably around the $5,000 range.
Okay.
And then this is the oldest coin that I brought. It's a 1799 silver dollar in almost uncirculated 58, which is just one grade below mint state, which is a very high grade for that coin. And that coin's like a $15,000 coin.
Wow.
And so it just buy as high of a grade as you can afford. And the older the coin, like that coin doesn't exist probably past like a mint state 62 or 60. So mint state starts at 60, 61,
60 and above
70.
is mint. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a weird scale. I don't know why the heck they didn't go with a 100-point scale, but they went to a 7-point scale. So basically, from 50, 53, 55, 58, those are all, they call them almost uncirculated. When you go to 60, it becomes mint state.
Yep.
And then, of course, there are lower grades as well, but for practical purposes, for like the audience we're talking here, they shouldn't be buying coins that are only available in those local, because that's much more advanced collecting or investing. You would go with the more generic dates to get into it, to get to learn the hobby, and also the highest grade you can get.
Got it.
And then, of course, there are also currency. So this is actually, let me start chronologically first. This is the earliest paper money that the United States put out. That was put out, look at the year.
July 22nd, 1776.
Right. So we've had state has put out paper money a few years prior to that, but this is the first national, they call them continental currency. And it started in 1775 and it ran, through the war years. But then because it's not backed by anything, inflation, lack of trust, eventually.
This was fiat money. We've been on and off with the gold standard. Right. People don't realize, they think 1971, that was one of the times we went off.
Yeah, we've been on and off for many times. And this, again, the first two times that we had with paper money was because of war. The Revolutionary War and then the Civil War. So this was the very first paper money. And then this...
And how much is something like that worth?
This one's probably, I don't know, maybe a couple thousand. But that's why I said paper money, the entry point is a little higher.
Got it.
Now, okay, let me back up a little bit. Paper money from the modern day looking paper money like this, where people recognize, you see the huge size, but it's still in a format you recognize. Started as early as 1861 and it went to 1929. And after 1929, it went down to the normal size that we see, and also the layout that we recognize now.
Interesting.
But this is an 1861 demand note. Yeah. So this, again, came out the beginning of the Civil War.
Yeah.
And you can look at the artwork on it. That's a statue that's on top of the Capitol. And so that's probably like
a $5,
$6,000 note. And that's a very low grade. That's a 20.
Gotcha.
And these are all hand signed. So again, more history, all hand signed notes, because they didn't issue that many.
Yeah.
And so,
my gosh.
And these notes rarely survive in anything other than this kind of condition, because, they just paper money, versus coin, right?
Yep.
And then, you move to more like, this is a 1917 $1 bill, and you can see it's starting to kind of look like our modern $1 bill, but you look at the artwork on it is absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And that note's about $1,000.
Detail, amazingly
it's
detailed
amazing,
for this 100 years ago, 100
right.
something,
And I'm not sure how the heck you would shove that in your wallet, because
big wallets back then.
But anyways, I like again of it for the history, but also just the sheer aesthetic of what a note used. And there's so many other notes that are prettier, that have better designs. And again, these are all third-party graded. This is something that's easy for a novice to get into, because all these things are now have third-party grading involved. So therefore, it takes a lot of the risk out of it as far as authenticity and as far as condition. So the early days of collecting, I made money because I was a really good grader on comic books. So I could always go look, and I can find things that are undergraded. And then, I would buy it. And then because it was undergraded, I can always sell it for more because the person couldn't grade. So that, again, knowledge is power.
Undergraded mean without a third-party grading.
Right. Because
some guy thought it was in, marginal condition. You said, well, it's a little better than marginal condition, actually.
Absolutely. Yeah. So back then, before third-party grading, your knowledge and your skills really could make you money. Once the third-party grading came about and the internet came about, it leveled the playing field. Like, a lot of people who just didn't have a lot of skills all of a sudden didn't need it. Whereas so it really hurt my competitiveness because, again,
it took away that way to make money.
Exactly. So I used to do really well of being able to look at books and being able to spot the ones that were undergraded, because that was an easy way to make money. You didn't have to speculate on the book's going to go up or not. That book, there's a couple $100 worth of profit in there because the person just didn't grade it right. So now, again, for the novice, it's third-party grading is a plus for the novice.
Yeah,
Obviously, it doesn't help somebody who is really well versed in it, because it levels the playing field a bit.
totally.
So, and then um, and then last but not least, comic books, which are my original love. So I go with, so let me go. This is a more modern. This one is from 1960. So
Okay.
this is the first appearance
Justice League.
of the Justice League of America, and so you guys have seen the Justice League movies, and the DC universe is not nearly as popular as the Marvel universe, but the books are a lot harder to find.
Hmm.
And so, anyways, comic books, the entry point. Well, again, it's just like coins. It's pretty wide, but I only invest in the basically from the mid '60s and older.
Okay.
That's my preference, because the new stuff is, especially like the Spider-Man, the X-Men, all that stuff. It's almost become a commodity, because the demand is so high because of all the new people coming into the hobby because of the movies. Um, it's yeah, it I don't know. I just don't enjoy those, because those books have just become a commodity. Whereas
Got
these
it.
books, the rarity, the scarcity is still a part of it. Whereas,
Yep.
like, say, Amazing Fantasy 15, like I mentioned to you, the
Mhm.
first appearance of Spider-Man, that
Mhm.
book is not rare. That There's thousands of copies of that book out there in all kinds of conditions, but the demand is so high in that book. I mean, it literally had one of these almost exponential rise, and then it obviously every bubble burst and it flattened out, and now it's kind of stabilizing. And so it's always going to have a value,
Yep.
but it's the 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 action is almost a little too frenetic for my taste.
Mhm.
I'm more of a passive investor. I don't want to have to track it on a regular basis. I'm much more of a,
So interesting. The ones that there are fewer of are actually more price predictable in
yes,
your mind.
because the demand isn't frenetic
Got it.
for it. Like, say, X-Men One,
Less trendy.
less trendy.
Okay.
Yes,
Got
yes,
it.
yes.
Got it.
So, like, say that book. Now, this is an important book. So this book is not cheap. This book is probably like 15,000, 16,000.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and but the supply is set.
Yep.
I mean, it's 1960. I mean, they're not going to find a stash of them anywhere. So it's a much more predictable investment. And again, if they,
And how would you buy something like this?
um,
Like a website
there are
exchange kind of
auction
thing?
houses, there's eBay, there's live in-person convention,
Yeah.
and that applies for coins and paper money too. And that's actually the fun part, because you can go and you can look
I
at
was
stuff,
gonna say,
you
it
can
sounds like a
shop.
good way to learn about the space.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and you go and you talk to dealers, and I would, like, when I first shifted from this to the coins and the currency, and I did that probably about 10 years ago when I shifted. I've always had an interest, but I never really went there.
Mhm.
But 10 years ago, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna shift, because this stuff has gotten so pricey that it's like, I mean, I can buy a crap load of coins and currency for the price of one book. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna shift over to here, because I can, I guess, I don't have to buy. I can buy, like, say, 10 items instead of one. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that spreads my risks out a little bit more. I guess in essence
Yeah.
diversification,
Yeah.
in a sense of quantity diversification. But yeah, so conventions, they're all, there are three, four, five of them a year in this
Mhm.
area.
Mhm.
They're live auctions, they're online auctions. I mean, it's anything. I mean, I constantly see stuff I want. I just like, not enough money to buy everything I want to buy.
I have that
Actually,
feeling all the time. Yeah.
there's an auction going on today, that is going to close. That's going to live auction start at 7 tonight, and there's a few items on there that I did some proxy bidding on it. So we'll see if I win it or not.
Fingers crossed for you.
Yeah, thank you. And then say this one
Mhm.
is that's the genre that I really like, is from the 40s, 30s and 40s. That's a genre that I really like, and that's Green Lantern #1.
Wow.
And if you look at the artwork, I mean, it's just, it's something that is from another time, and you can
Yeah.
pull out the bag.
Okay.
They might take the shine, the glare off of it. Um, so again, these are pretty expensive books, but there are entry points in at all price level. That book is about 20 grand.
Wow.
Um,
How often do you check out your collection? Like, do you sit there sometimes kind of just admiring this ever, or like you just kind of stash it away?
the comic books I don't do as much just because I've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
I would say
You can only see it so many times.
I'm maybe a little jaded because I've been doing it so long. The coins I look at more often because that's newer to me. So it's still kind of like, oh, I'd never noticed this. Whereas this stuff, I've been doing it most of my life. So,
Got it.
But again, speculation on this one. Action Comics. That's the vehicle that Superman first appeared in. And compared to, like, say, the modern day Spider-Man, they're really cheap. Again, relatively speaking. So what I've been doing is that I've been basically buying those books because I'm going, well, just look at what the marketplace that it's in.
Yep.
And at some point people can say, oh, okay, that's just crazy because the supply is 10 times more supply for that book than, say, an early action. So I've been trying to put together an action run from 2 to 10 or 2 to 15. One is out of touch now. One will be a 7-figure book no matter what. That's out of reach. So, but 2 through 15, you can have, they depending on the issue, but they're anywhere between 3,000-4,000 to, I almost won I was bidding on a Action 2 a few years back, and I was the underbidder at 50 grand.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, I just can't go past that. But again, that's.
Well, you mentioned 7 figures, and I'm just amazed. Some of these things could be $1 million or more.
Oh yeah, no, the Action 1, that's going to be $1 million book. Wow. In any, like, an Action 1 in this condition would be $3 or $4 million.
Wow.
Because the demand, it's a trophy piece.
Yeah.
Even people who don't collect comics want because just like the Honus Wagner baseball card, or the Michael Jordan Flair rookie card, they're all trophy pieces.
Yep.
So and then now, like, let's say this book, this is from the same era that I like, the 40s. You can pull that out. That's gonna be so much reflection. And so that book is cheaper. That book is like a $3,000 book. But I've always liked this book because the artwork to it is just such a. If you look at that, doing the World War II, and the character is Manhunter, and then if you can see it's hunting a Navy U-boat.
Nazi. He stalks Nazi raiders and Cobras of the Deep.
Yeah, it's just a cool looking book, and of course these are all third-party graded, so it takes a lot of the risks away for collectors.
Do people ever crack these open to read them, or
no?
Is there some website where I can actually read this? Someone took a picture before they locked it up.
A lot of these things you can like the books from the 60s. They're all reprinted. So I have tons of reprint of like all the Spider-Man, all the X-Men. The books from the 40s are a little harder.
Yeah.
But people will crack these if they think they can upgrade the grade.
I see. If they want to contest the grade.
That's the only way they would crack it. They think they can get a higher grade.
Not for toilet reading.
Not for reading, right. So third-party grading, good and bad. The bad is that you can't really look through your books anymore. But the good is that it, authenticity, grade, and all that.
It brings a lot of trust to the market.
Yeah, exactly. Trust, exactly. And this, again, the internet really, without this, the internet commerce of these collectibles would be really hard to do because you have to take somebody else's
you need standardization.
Right.
You can't get that over the internet.
Yeah. Basically. So, but yeah. So, like, there are books from the 60s, like, Spider-Man run. Again, Spider-Man came out in the early 60s, and they're not rare by any stretch. The high grade ones are, but like, let's say Spider-Man 1 in low grade can be had for a few $1,000s. Spider-Man 6, and it just all depends on condition because they're not that rare. So it's all condition driven.
Yep.
But those are like, they're called the Silver Age from, like, say, the late 50s on to like the early 70s. This is the golden age, the beginning of it. And I much prefer these. So that's what I pick up. Also because they're a lot rarer. You just don't see them.
You like the rare stuff.
I do. I mean, it's kind of like you see it all the time. It's just not as fun. It's always fun to see, oh, wow, I haven't seen that, especially a cool looking cover. And it also, it looks from another time.
Clearly, it's another time. Yeah.
And so, but modern books, I would not recommend because it's very volatile.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, you 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 got to be in and out, and you got to really keep up with the modern books because they're, you know, they go up, they go down, they change very fast. So I really, up until about the mid 70s, that's about all that I will buy books up to, because
Got it.
those have their value have
Yeah.
kind of been established.
And you prefer mid 60s even, or
And
60s?
earlier,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the mid 30s to the probably the late 40s. That's really what I like, and so that's the passion part of me.
Mhm.
That's because that's a genre that I've always liked, but I'm buying it not. I'm buying it mostly for the return that I can get on the books.
Yep.
So
So one thing I've learned through this conversation is that I have massively underestimated the depth and complexity. I mean, I thought we would be done in 40 minutes, and I mean, we can. Maybe we should in the future revisit this. This is a really deep topic, really interesting. It sounds like if I were to bastardize it by trying to summarize it in a few kind of starting points, it sounds like, you know, obviously don't put all your eggs in one basket. So if you're just starting out and you got $10,000 to your name, go buy an index fund. Don't put much in collectibles because you're not going to be able to liquidate quickly. Sounds like when in doubt, lean rare. Sounds like a big part of success in your philosophy is avoiding the froth. So look where the buzz is and try to go where it isn't.
right,
Hoping that the buzz later migrates to that thing that you've already bought.
right.
But just like with the stock, you need to buy it before like the crowd wakes up and falls in love with that thing. It sounds like these branded movies, like with Hasbro and Mattel with the toy industry, it's
Transformers.
it's become huge.
Right.
You need these. People don't buy like just. I mean, they buy balls and simple toys like we had when we were kids, but
Right.
it's much more about the movie property toys, the character toys. Those are reliable sellers, and it sort of had the same kind of halo effect
Yes.
on these collectibles.
Right.
Sounds like going to the conventions, meeting people.
Learning.
You really want to learn how the market. There's kind of a feeling, a sense for how the market moves for these things, and the better the feeling you have relative to the feeling the other people have, the better you can do. Sounds like you don't want to be too hypey either. You want to be even keeled.
Yeah, I think
Is that a good?
Yeah.
Anything else to add to that?
And I think that you have to look at, okay, if you want to do this, do you like U.S. history?
Yeah.
Do you like, you know, the DC movies? You like the Marvel movies? If you have any interest in those, then that's the I guess the category you want to go with, and just start going to conventions to just look at stuff, learn stuff. It's not. I mean, it's not rocket science, but it does take time to absorb.
Yeah.
And again, you know, the more that you know, the better decision that you'll make. And it's fun. I mean,
you're literally owning a part of U.S. history.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're buying it, literally.
Absolutely, especially with the coins and the currency. And I mean, these items have been. I mean, if you look at that 1850 Double Eagle, that thing have circulated, you know, for probably a good 50 years before it was put away. And a lot of silver coins like that 1799. I mean, who knows where that thing has been?
Yeah,
And it's just cool, you know. And as much as I like the high grade coins, I also appreciate the circulated coins, because the high grade coins, you know, haven't seen much life because it's been put away. That's why
those things have the other ones have a story to tell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so it's yeah, I would say just go and you know, if you look, there are tons of comic conventions, there are coin conventions. Coins and the currency will go hand in hand, and most of the people there are very friendly because they all have a passion for it, even the dealers. And you just learn and start small, and just kind of incrementally work your way up. Just like, you know, I mean, you know, your first stock purchase shouldn't be, you know, 10,000 shares of anything. You know, it should be maybe 50 shares or something. And again, you work your way up to where you're comfortable. And with collectibles, there are price points that you have to work your way up to.
Yeah.
Because even if you have the disposable income to jump right into, like, say, buying a $10,000 book, emotionally you're not there. So you start out with, like, say, a $500 book, and then you slow, and then as then your knowledge base grows, your price threshold
Yep.
will
Yep.
also
Matches,
climb. And I mean, it took me a long time, but like let's say in that Action Comic #2, I bid 50 grand on it. Now that took me, a long time to build to that level of comfort to do that, and knowing, that was
Well,
the
you've
right.
got to have a background knowledge to say, okay, this and temperament to say, all right, this is what I think it's worth. This is about what I'm going to cap myself at a
Right.
bid, because
Yep.
I don't want to get caught up in the frenzy,
Right.
and maybe some other people don't.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, it's you definitely want to take your time. But with the third party grading, it really does make it a lot easier to
Yeah.
get into
That's a
into
game
these
changer. It
game
sounds
changer,
like
100%.
average people getting into it.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, I highly recommend it. But once you get into it, you'll see there's so many different angles to play in this world, and you just find what appeals to you. And I think that's the best part, because I mean, you look at your stock portfolio, and I mean, frankly, it's great when it goes up, but besides that, I mean, it's boring.
Yeah, it's kind of a soulless thing. Yeah, yeah. Excellent. Phong, this has been really, really helpful. I'm sure, to me personally, I'm a little interested now, and I'm sure to a lot of those people watching at home, you've given tons of great advice. Just want to say thank you for sharing your wisdom, for bringing these things over. There's nothing like actual things to show to capture the mind. So thanks again. Just to put you on the spot, where are we going skiing this winter? Where do you want to go?
Oh, Austria.
Austria. Awesome.
Howard, our other friend, he, the great papa that he is, put 2 kids through college, and the last one just graduated, so no more tuition. That means we
can celebrate.
We can celebrate and take a big trip to Europe. So Innsbruck, there are, I think, 6 or 7 resorts all around, and every day we can ski a different one.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So
all right, Phong. Thanks again, and thanks to you guys for watching us at home.
Yep. Take care.